Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about palette sisters, and this is a new video idea that actually I didn't come up with. One of you guys did, and I cannot for the life of me remember who it was, but I remembered the concept and you asking me to do it. So I went back through a whole bunch of my past videos and all through the comments, and I just could not find it. So if you're watching, please let me know down below. One of the things that you had told me was that you call them fraternal twin palettes, and I thought that was so super cute, but I didn't want to steal your name, so I'm calling them palette sisters. But it's basically where you have a palette that has really similar colors and a really similar vibe, but it's not an exact dupe. I mean, some of the shades might be exact dupes, but the overall palette is not an exact dupe. And also, these are not palettes where a certain company was trying to dupe another one. These are just kind of accidental dupes, or ones that, you know, because a certain color story was trendy at the time, that kind of everybody was doing the same thing. And then you're always bound to wind up with palettes that look alike. And I think it's important to show these just because I'm sure a lot of us in our collection have these palettes together and you don't realize it at the time because, you know, you're just so caught up in, you know, how pretty it is and you want to buy it, and then you get it home and it's like, wait a minute, this looks just like some other palette that I have. So I went digging through my collection. It was a lot of fun. I was able to find 5 palettes that I have other sister palettes for, and some of them are pretty surprising actually. So why don't we go ahead and just jump right in, and we'll start with this first one because I've been getting so many requests to find a dupe for this Natasha Denona Biba palette. A lot of you have been saying you just can't find a dupe for it, and I was not able to find an exact dupe in my collection, but I did find some that were really similar. So the first one is this little palette from J-Cat Beauty, and this one is called Walk of Stardom. This is their pocket shadow, and when I first looked at this, let me just see if I can get it open. Oh my god, I just broke my nail. You know, like when it bends back, oh my god, that hurt. So when I first saw these two side by side, I was getting so excited because they have so many of the same colors. It has like kind of that earthy tone vibe. Not that this one has as many colors as the Biba palette, but it just looked like an overall very similar vibe. Unfortunately, the quality of this palette is not good. I hadn't even swatched it yet. I had bought it a while back and hadn't even gotten the chance to open it. And once I did, I was really disappointed in the quality. So I'm not even gonna recommend this one to you guys. Another one that I've seen a few people mentioning in videos is this one from e.l.f. And this is the New Classics palette. I know Risa Does Makeup did a video about these two being dupes. She did a look like with one on one eye and one on the other. And I also saw Jessica Braun talking about these in a vlog being really similar. And I have to say they really are. There's a lot of very similar tones in here. So I'll go ahead and show you some swatches of what they look like side by side. And again, like they're not exact dupes, but I feel like they're really close. There are some shades that are almost exactly the same, and then there's others that are just completely and totally different. But this e.l.f. palette definitely has more of like that earthy vibe. It has those greens in there. It has some of those rusty orange colors. So while not an exact dupe, it's definitely a palette sister to the Biba palette. And then one that I found that was really super close to the Biba is this giant palette right here from Rude Cosmetics. This is called the Rude Awakening. And I was actually blown away by how many shades these have in common right here. Now this Rude palette has way more shades than the Biba does, but I was able to find so many almost identical matches to shades in the Biba palette, and even the ones that didn't match were really close. They were just maybe slightly off in tone. There's a couple that really didn't match up, but I was really excited when I saw this one because I feel like it's the closest dupe to the Biba palette that I have in my collection right now. And I'm hoping that at some point maybe Alter Ego or Makeup Revolution will dupe it, but for now I think this is probably the closest that we're gonna get. And then speaking of Natasha Denona, I've been looking for something similar to the Sunrise palette, again just because I've gotten so many requests for this one. It's just so super bright and summery and pretty. And very shortly after I got this one, I saw ColourPop come out with this one right here. And they are so much alike, oh my goodness. So this is totally, I think, unintentional. I don't think ColourPop was trying to dupe it because they really came out around the same time, but this is one of ColourPop's build your own palettes that they curated themselves. So you can go on ColourPop's website and fill up an empty palette like this with their single shadows, but ColourPop actually chose all these. So when it came like with the empty palette, and then all these little singles were individually packaged, and I had to just kind of arrange them in whatever order, you know, know, I wanted to in the palette, but you didn't get a choice as far as the shades go. So this one is still available for purchase. It's $40, which is a little bit more expensive than ColourPop's other eyeshadow palettes, but this one does have 24 shades, so you're getting a little bit more than you normally would. Plus their quality is just so good. Like, I really don't see a whole lot of difference between these two, so I'll show you guys some swatches. It's almost an exact dupe, but not quite, and the ColourPop one does have a lot more shades in it, which I didn't swatch. I just went ahead and swatched the ones that I felt matched up the closest to the Natasha Denona, and then that way you could see how similar they are. But just know that you are getting a lot more shades in this ColourPop one, and to be honest, there's not a big difference in the quality as far as I'm concerned, because I think ColourPop can do no wrong when it comes to their shadow formula. And then next up, I found a sister palette for this Makeup Revolution Optimum palette from their Forever Flawless collection. This came out a couple of months ago, so it's a pretty new palette, and I think, to be honest with you, the formula on this one is one of Makeup Revolution's best. I feel like they can be really hit and miss with their formulas, but this is just beyond anything that they've ever done. It performs like high-end shadow. It's so good. But just in case you're thinking about buying this, that the BH Cosmetics Smokes palette is really close to this one. So this one came out, I want to say last year or maybe even the year before. It's been out for a while, so you may already own this one in your collection. This one is super similar. Now, the only thing I'll say is, even though I love BH's formula, I think it's really good, and this palette is no exception, but I do think that Makeup Revolution beats their formula just a little bit when it comes to this one, so I do prefer this. If you don't own either one, I highly suggest grabbing this one, and this one does have a few more shades in it as well. But if you already own the BH Cosmetics one, I think it's a really good formula just on its own, and you really don't need this one if you already have this. Next up, I have some sister palettes to the Riviera from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Again, not exact dupes, but really close. The first one is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. So you have a lot of the same bright colors going on here. This one does have a few more shades than the Riviera does, but I think the formula of this Weekend Festival one is amazing. It's one of the better ones from BH. I think it's so good. This one came out actually before the Riviera palette. So again, nobody's trying to dupe anybody, but I think it just kind of worked out that way. They're both summertime palettes. I want to say this one actually came out last summer, and this one came out earlier this year. So I'll show you some swatches just so you can see. I mean, they're almost spot on. I have to say, when I posted these on Instagram a while back, everybody was kind of blown away, like how similar these really are. And then another sister palette to the Riviera is this festival palette from Profusion. So they're both festival palettes actually, but this one, again, a lot more shades, a lot more affordable, and I think Profusion's eyeshadow formula is really good for the price as well. And just in my humble opinion, I think that the Weekend Festival from BH Cosmetics formula is just slightly better than the Profusion one. Some of these, you know, the shimmers could be a little bit on the flaky side, some of the lighter shades, and then also, you know, the mattes are a little bit more powdery, but for the price, you honestly cannot beat it. So I'm not gonna swatch this entire thing, but I'll show you the shades that I feel kind of match up pretty closely to the Riviera palette, and I think without a doubt you can get very similar looks out of either one of these for a lot less money than spending it on the Riviera. So if you're somebody who's not really into bright colors but you want to try some for summer, I would just grab one of these because you'll get the same looks out of it and you don't have to invest the money if you really don't feel like you're going to wear it all that often. And then palette number 5 is this one from BH Cosmetics, which was a collab with Daisy Marquez. And the palette that I found that's actually really similar to this one is the Juvia's Place Saharan palette. Now, I did post swatches of these side by side on my Instagram a while back, if you follow me over there, and people were actually getting really upset on behalf of Juvia's Place, saying that this was like a blatant copy of it, that they even copied like the packaging and the color of the packaging. I'm not sure that they were necessarily trying to copy, but I have to admit that a lot of the shades in this one are really close. I'll go ahead and show you some swatches. Granted, the BH Cosmetics one has a lot more shades than the Saharan one does, but I can't deny that there are a ton of similarities between these two. So if you already have one of these, I'm not quite sure that you really need the other one. The only thing I will say is that hardly any palettes will beat Juvia's Place as far as formula goes. I think they have one of the best eyeshadow formulas I've ever tried. They're right up there in my top 3 probably, with ColourPop being another one that I mentioned earlier. So I think these are absolutely amazing, and these are really good too. I have to say BH has really stepped it up over the past couple of years, but if you're looking for formula formula, I would definitely go with this one. Juvia's is really not that expensive. They're somewhere between like drugstore and high-end prices, plus they have really good sales all the time. But this one, you know, it does have the additional shades. If you like some of these other ones, it has like these really pretty pastel-y colors in here. So if you're looking for just more shades, I think this formula is really good. It just doesn't quite beat this one. Alright guys, so those are the 5 palette sisters that I found in my collection. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And also let me know in the comments if you like this video and if you'd like me to do more of them. I can definitely dig through my collection and find some more similar palettes for you guys. And I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments as well if you found any similar palettes in your collection. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!